Now what we're going to do is we're going to head over to the desert. We're going to the desert. We're wondering how on earth this city even exists. Yet, there it is. Sir Michael Huntsman lives in Las Vegas, and he has revolutionized his life. Now, when I say revolutionize, I don't play with that word. I am talking about what it literally means. It's a turnaround, a revolve. He said no to the old life. Getting stomped on, getting blamed for problems at work. He didn't have a life. In fact, he was the creepy old janitor in the basement for 14 years of hotels and big buildings in Vegas. I have this old image in my head of him, limping through because he's got some work-related injuries in the basement. Just drips falling, and he's down there doing plumbing, and what a mess. And doing it at night, not having a life. So then where someone says, well, hey, man, why don't you wake up, take control, and do some real estate? Man, he was so full of excuses, but I don't have the time. I don't have the schedule. I don't have any experience. I don't have any money. What are you talking about? How can I? But luckily, he stayed coachable. He stayed open. And as the ideas that Renatus teaches went in, something changed. Something snapped in his brain, and he said, you know what? Never again am I going to live an old life. And he said goodbye to it and started stepping into this new life to where now he's done over 100 deals. He got to showcase. We did a deal tour about 3 weeks ago. He showed us a deal where he made $163,000. Now, he was barely making, 40, 50 grand. I think he said you're making like $5 grand a month, before taxes, to where 160 grand on a flip that he also got to help the people. So he's more motivated by helping people, but the money comes. So we take the money. But I love this community and this vision that our CEO has about our organization, about helping people. And Huntsman is a very people-oriented entrepreneur, and he's helped a ton of people out of foreclosures, short sales, bad situations, probate stuff. And he's brought that humanness to the real estate side of what we do. And it's very inspiring to hear how he's changed it all. And so what we'd like to do is hear from him. What techniques and vision, what went on in your mind as you decided, I want a new life, and how did it work for you? So with a big warm welcome, let's bring to the stage Mr. Michael Huntsman. Good morning, Michael. How are you?
Fantastic. Hey, thanks for that introduction, Michael. You're awesome.
Yeah,
So,
my pleasure, man. Thanks for
um,
being here.
right on. So, well, let's just get into it. So, you told a little bit of my story. So, yeah, um, I grew up in Las Vegas, had great big dreams, but didn't have anybody showing me how to accomplish those dreams. And so, I did all these different things, and then I ended up as a maintenance engineer on the Las Vegas Strip. I did that for 14 years, and I worked my way up so that I was the guy in charge of the entire maintenance department at the property I worked at overnight. So I still had a boss that would come in during the day, take credit for everything I did, blame me for his mistakes, and I got burnt out. Then I realized that I still had those dreams. And then I read a book that taught me that 90% of wealthy people make their wealth in real estate. And so I didn't know anything about real estate, so I went and became a realtor working part-time. I found out as a realtor, I'm still just representing other people, trading my time for money, helping them with their dreams. And it wasn't until I was actually introduced to Renatus that I started working part-time as a real estate investor. And I walked away from my full-time job after I tripled my income. So I was making 60 grand a year. I made 180 grand before I completed my second year after I started with Renatus. And so I told my boss, I said, you can't afford me anymore.
Yeah.
So some of the things that got me to that point was, so first of all, I knew I was burnt out. I started hating where I was at. And I realized that everything that I had tried up to that point, I allowed unless to come in and stop me. And so when I was introduced to Renatus the first time, actually, Michael, you were the one standing in front of the room doing the presentation. And when you shared some things, I knew that I found my future. And I made a decision right then and there that I was no longer going to let a less stop me. And I went all in and made the decision that I would continue until. So I had some, so when I first got started, I set some goals. And my number one main goal, now I got very specific on it. I was going to fire my boss, and I was going to do it by the end of 2018. And I was going to do it when I made a certain amount of money. That was triple my income. Those are the things that I vision. So, you know, we've all been given a gift, right? We can see exactly everything that we have done to get to where we are right now. We can also see, we've all been blessed, we can see the future. We close our eyes and see ourselves 5 years from now. That is an absolute reality as long as we continue until in that direction. Otherwise, we wouldn't be able to see it, right? So we've all been received that blessing. So when I made that decision, I removed the word unless from my vocabulary and started doing the things to achieve my goal of firing my boss. And so I was working full time, 11 p.m. to 7 a.m. So as it is already, I didn't get much sleep because I would have to sleep during the day, but during the day, that's when everything happens, right? So I had to get very specific with my schedule in order for me to accomplish what I wanted to accomplish. So I would go to work 11 at night till 7 in the morning. I would put in my earphones while I'm at work, and I would be listening to my education. And one of the very first classes that I listened to and watched was Mark Kohler. And when he told me that I could start filing my taxes as a business owner, I went to my employer and I changed my withholding to 10. So now the money that they were taking out of my taxes, out of my check for taxes, was now coming back to me. And it was actually a $1,200 a month pay raise when I first got started in business. And I used that $1,200 a month to start my business. And so I had to get very specific with my schedule. And so I would get off at 7 in the morning, go home, go to sleep by 7:30. Then I would be up by 2:30, 3 o'clock every day. And then another class that I watched was creative acquisitions with Chris Albin. And so I learned one of the ways that you could do deals is help people that are facing foreclosure or some other type of real estate challenge. And so what I did is I would go from about 2:30 to 3 o'clock, and I would go knock on doors every single day until it got dark, and just started having conversations with those families that were facing those challenges. Now, it was scary. It was very scary the first time, but the first couple times, but what I realized is that fear doesn't actually exist. As soon as you do the thing that scares you, it's gone, right? Let's say you're afraid of heights. You're standing up at the edge of the cliff looking down. Are you afraid of heights anymore? No, you're afraid of falling. So now you fall down. Are you afraid of falling anymore? No, you're afraid of landing, right? Now you land. Are you afraid of landing? No, you're worried, right? So the second you do the thing that you fear goes away. So I started doing that. I started knocking on doors and having conversations with folks, and was able to make that $180,000 before December of 2018. And so I was able to achieve all my goals, but it's because I had that clear vision, that clear plan, and clear action steps to be able to accomplish it. I stopped watching TV. I stopped playing video games. I was 100% focused, dedicated on achieving that goal. And so that's it. Just continue until. Set that goal and continue until. Don't let unless get in the way.
Way cool. So the idea of cutting things out to make this fit. Most people here on the calls and people looking at our company and are involved in our company have a traditional 9 to 5 or 7 to 3 kind of thing. But you had to use your sleeping hours to go knock on doors. So, folks, some of you are like, oh, this is so hard. But would you really get up at 2 a.m. to go knock on doors? Because 2 p.m. is Michael's 2 a.m. in his old life. Right? So some of you think about it, but you haven't connected the desire and willingness to get up at 2 a.m. to go knock on doors for an hour. The equivalent of 2 a.m. Success is coming to me at an inconvenient time. Don't be that person. Great. So, Huntsman, as you were designing your life, you got the boss who's nagging at you. You got 14 years of working in the janitorial systems. Had nothing to do with real estate and business, right? They're two totally different worlds. So, do you have a vision board? Was there like an image you were holding up physically or just in your mind? What were you doing to transition?
So in the beginning, I didn't have a vision board, but I just had that burning desire to be able to sleep during the day, basically. Right. And so I just kept that focused, and I got, there were times I would get discouraged. Knocking doors is it's a tough way. I mean, it's still my bread and butter now because I got over the fear and I got good at it. Right. But you can't let those, like, I'm gonna knock on doors unless somebody slams the door in my face.
Oh,
No, I'm gonna knock on doors until somebody lets me have a conversation with them and we could talk about saving their property or getting them some money out of losing their property.
so folks, are you hearing the difference between unless and until? That was the major difference for Huntsman that got him his time and financial freedom. Unless versus until. It's not semantics, it's lifestyle difference. And now he's an international investor as well. Tell us a little bit about what you're doing out of the country.
Yeah, actually, so my original goal that I had was to fire my boss. So I fired my boss. Okay, now what do I do? Well, okay, now I'm a full-time real estate investor. That was my goal. I achieved my goal. So what's next? Right? So we actually own 10 acres of beachfront property in the Philippines. We got a little cottage on there right now, but our goal is to actually build a resort there. And we have some other rental properties there in the Philippines and different islands, but the major goal, the next until we build that beach resort.
A beach resort in the Philippines. Because you believe it can be done, it will be done.
Absolutely.
That is awesome, man. Good for you. And one fun thing, I like talking to Huntsman's wife about pigs and farming because some of you don't know, but I'm completely new to this idea of livestock and raising animals and growing your own food. But his wife's been doing it for a while. They got some pigs and stuff, so we've been talking about pigs, and you'll start to see that the connections around life and responsibility and achievement, they blend into all areas, not just money. So, you know, if you guys or gals are down in Vegas or anywhere near that, or people who are, Michael and his team are running events like we are here in Atlanta, like Jared is helping with the Utah team, like Bill is helping with the Phoenix team, and basically everyone I'm introducing you to, you can work with online and you can work with in person, depending on where you are. So if you're in Vegas or anywhere near that, or you want to get connected and work with Huntsman and his team, get back with your host, the person who registered you, say, hey, how do I stay connected? Let's schedule a strategy session. Everybody's different. Your time, your money, your background, your knowledge, your credit, everybody's different. So we need a strategy session to help you get the fastest results possible. It'll still be on you. I want to make that clear. I didn't call Huntsman every day and say, hey, time to get up, set your alarm, go knock on doors. He was a self-starter. We gave him the blueprint to follow. We were there when he asked questions, but his self-starter is one of the reasons why he now has life by design. So thank you for sticking with it. That until principle is major. And Tamara said she's coming to visit. She's put the Philippines on her dream board a while ago, so she's going to come out and visit with you. Excellent. Whew, man, this day just keeps getting better. We got a couple more trainers, and then we're just going to kind of dissolve. What's the word I'm looking for? Distill. We're going to distill down today's lessons into a couple key items, and then we'll imprint it on our being, not just as an idea, but as a way of being.